have to agree with some of the comments were made. I think the movie was well put together. I do believe that the first half of it, they were trying so hard to define postmodernism that they probably bored half the people to death. Although they did a good job of it. I mean, I came away with a definition that I didn't have before, but I don't think the average person wants to sit there for 30 minutes trying to figure that out. I think they could clearly have said it quickly, that basically postmodernism is a mess. I mean, everyone has their own opinion, and there is no right opinion, and everybody's tolerant with each other, and that's why we're in such a mess we are in today. But the key is then, if that is where we are today in the culture, how does the church deal with that? Because the church comes along and says, we believe in an absolute truth, and the culture says, we don't. So somewhere along, there's this big gap then, and that's why people don't walk in the doors of a church, because they say, well, those people aren't tolerant with us. We don't want to talk to them. So it is going to have to be a different train. The church is going to have to change the way it deals with people. Because, like several people have commented already, people aren't going to come to us anymore. We're going to have to go to them. And I'm not sure most of our people know how to do that. So we're going to have to learn some new tricks. Our message doesn't change, but maybe the way we package it and the way we present it will change.
Well, one thing about the movie was that the stimulating questions about truth and where we're going and where we are, those are questions that I think that each individual has an opportunity to think about for himself. I also like the stimulating questions because what is truth? Oftentimes, as things go my way and the things that I understand, that's my truth. But how do I relay that truth to others when they read the Bible differently than I do?
I think that the discussions about the churches, the way they're structured, the way they're run, that for so many of the mainstream churches, that it really is just a liturgical rote. You're in at 11 and you're out at 12, and you don't do anything about it for the next week. I think that the fellowships, the Christian fellowships that are springing up everywhere, show that there are a lot of people who want more than a liturgical service.
Well, just because we're a small church, I think we're not really, I think we are different from the train. And like some of the other people here said, that they've already gotten off the train, and that we do a ton of ministry out of this little building and out of this little congregation. And so, yeah, that's the way most of the church is going, but it's not everybody. That there are people, maybe we're starting a revolution, but there are people who are seeing that there's a problem with the church in America.
I couldn't help but keep watching it, and when they're talking about the failure of the church, the failure of the church part of it, which is certainly somewhat of an accurate picture. But to me, I kept thinking over and over again, well, there's a failure of the church when the Holy Spirit isn't working. When you play church, when people play church and just want to have all the fixins and have all that, but without keep a lid on the Holy Spirit, then you're gonna get the reaction to Christianity that you're gonna get.
I found it extremely relevant because we have a daughter who grew up in this culture of postmodernism who definitely does not believe in absolute truth, even though she was raised a Christian. So I do feel, it's weird looking at the camera instead of the mic. I do feel that it's extremely relevant that we think about what we have done, even as a church, to this generation of echo boomers, because it's a 17 to 25-year-old, something like that.
And it was very well done. The framework of it, how it kept my attention going, even though it was a lot of people talking over and over. But the thought had a kind of like a line, and you can follow it. And at the same time, the movement of all the images was great. For me, just like my other fellow here, I had to jump the train, and it was not a pretty thing to do, or fun thing to do, but I had to do it in order to survive with my God. And I would encourage other people to look at it, because we need to think deeply in what is it that we believe, and where do we need to